Liam and I have made our way to Niagara Falls and are exploring the Screaming Tunnel this night. Urban legend suggests that when you strike a wooden match at midnight, that a child spirit begins to scream, and that's how it got its name. There are so many places that have legends such as the Screaming Tunnel. In the Carolinas, we have
Crybaby Bridge.
Yeah, what's the legend there?
That you can hear a baby crying from it.
Yeah, so if you pull your car out onto that bridge and you stop, you then hear a baby's cry. I am sure there are so many stories across North America that echo that one, and the Screaming Tunnels has that kind of reputation. We have rolled up just off of Warner Road, and some of my first impressions come from the road itself. If you take the road towards the QEW, towards the end of that dead end, I get my first impressions of a child's passing. I do not believe that it has anything to do with an assault or a murder or fire. To me, there's an impression of an accidental death. So we're making our way into the tunnel. As you can see, it is a popular, kind of a popular attraction in the area. There was a TV series called Creepy Canada that made the story of a child's murder popular. The story goes that a father, knowing that he was about to lose custody of his child, set fire to that child in this tunnel, and that the striking of the match represents her reliving that instance. That bothers me from the standpoint of being a medium. We don't want to be in a position where we torment spirit, and it may very well be us that is haunting her, if there is an intelligent child spirit. Ground is very wet. I expected kind of a train, like train tracks or something. This is not a train tunnel. This to me is some sort of agricultural tunnel. Probably allows water from the higher end in the fields to make its way through this area. There are plenty of vineyards and farms around here. I don't know how old these tunnels are. There's definitely a residual sense of people passing through here as a walking or a pedestrian tunnel. You're capturing everything on infrared. I'll try to mine that when I shine a light at you, Liam.
It doesn't seem to be picking up your light too much. It just shows a bright ball.
Okay.
So it should be fine.
Like I said, I feel the residual energies of families as kind of a pass through, whether these families are farm families and they use this tunnel to make their way around places. That's what I feel. Yeah, much of what I feel is just residual. There is a stone tape theory that suggests that certain stones have the ability to record residual energies, and that some of what we perceive as spirit is just a recording kept in these stones. So it's very well that because the scream can be duplicated supposedly by teenagers and thrill seekers, that it could very well be that this limestone, looks like limestone, a limestone tunnel to me, has recorded an event. I do feel that we are speaking of a child's passing, a little girl. But again, I felt more energy out on the road at the dead end on Warner Road. Also want to note that we are getting lightning bugs. If we see them in post-production or you see them on your screen, they're not orbs. We'll identify orbs as we see them. But we are getting what we call lightning bugs down south and what you might call fireflies up here in Canada. So obviously this place has seen much graffiti.
You got some ghosty symbols?
Yeah, definitely have some ghosty symbols. What's your thought on places like this as an adult who wasn't long ago a teen?
I feel like this draws that sort of like teen energy, you know, especially, you know, around Halloween. You want to go get scared with your buds. So let's go to the Screaming Tunnel.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the reputation it has.
I feel like with all the legend of, you know, girls and fathers burning their daughters, it gets to be a bit much. All right, we thought we'd try our little experiment, and we'll set up a REM pod about midway through the tunnel. And before we strike a match, we'll strike a match near the location of that REM pod. Just for complete total appreciation, my father left me in the dark tunnel. You have to learn somehow. So a large majority of this is going to be in night vision. Heat. While that it registers heat. If you're an intelligent spirit and near here, can you let yourself be known? You can touch that device. We've decided to follow the process of legend and enter the tunnel alone and strike a match. I will be recording from a distance. Liam is taking no equipment with him. Who am I kidding? He has a whole backpack full of equipment. But the only thing he has out is the REM pod. He'll strike the match. We'll be at a distance. We'll see if we hear any screams. It is hella dark out here. So I can see how it lends itself to the story. I do know from the TV show Creepy Canada that there's a story about a dad lighting his child afire. At this point, I don't believe it. There's nothing residually or intelligent that suggests otherwise. Again, when we turn Sam loose with the records, we'll see what we can find. Obviously, a murder like that should be reported. All right, go for it. Firefly. Hear anything?
I heard something down there,
Yeah, I did not hear a scream.
but it didn't sound like a scream.
We had no reaction from the REM pod. we may trade places, and I'll take part in the action. Whenever you're ready.
Third?
Yeah. The matches.
I can tell you what I feel is more residual energy. I feel like a kid got hit by a car or something is what I'm feeling. Again, I feel more energy out there towards that dead end. I feel like a child has met with an accident maybe long ago, and maybe that child has left kind of a residual signature in this tunnel, but I do not believe it's an intelligent spirit. It's not a child lost to things. I would have said that her name is like Maggie. Maggie could be Margaret, but it feels like that child has left kind of her echoes here in this tunnel. Again, I cannot endorse the story that says a father came in and lit his child afire. I just don't agree with it. When we parked up there in that dead end, I felt like we were closer to whatever energy, whatever paranormal energy was there. This tunnel might have echoes of it, but I just cannot agree with everyone. I'm going to chalk it up to be an urban legend. I see what would be a small child, and there's a feeling of being away from her home and potentially being killed by an accident. To me, that could be an automotive accident, a car accident, but there's definitely the energy of this being a pass-through, a place to come and hide out and to play in, or to pass through as you're walking to school or hitting the school bus. That's what I feel in here. It could be that some of the sadness that we feel or experience in here comes from her accidental passing, but I do not believe this is an intelligent spirit. Give me the space back there too.
Yeah, I'm gonna get far enough back.
Again, if you're an intelligent spirit, the problem with residual energy is it's not going to interact with you.
Okay.
It's just a recording. Like we're talking about a classic stone tape incident. A report
spirit had been burned to death and is trapped in this tunnel and he can be released. Not twig fit my matches. The only reason I'm going forward with this is I suspect the energy is residual. We're going to walk back up to the road, collect our equipment. Again, although we had temperature changes in here that showed heat, it is steamy and warm in here. I cannot at all suggest that that was paranormal. And we had no action from the Mr. D. It's going to go off as I get closer to it. Anything that breaks the field for the micro radar detector elicits this alarm. There have been all kinds of paranormal groups and psychics and mediums who have explored this tunnel. And some of them have come away with the story that a child was burned in a violent murder by her father. I'm not feeling that. That, to me, isn't the story that takes place in here in a residual way. It's not what I feel any intelligent spirit gives us. The only thing I've felt is a holdover of a story of a girl who's had an accidental passing, but that to me takes place further up the road, and that maybe on their path home or on their walk home, they made their way through this tunnel daily. So again, it becomes a residual energy that records a negative moment in time. My wondering is if the mother of that child that passed is still an intelligent spirit. If she resides in this space, then it's perhaps her scream or her residual scream that we're recording. I would think the lighting of the match would indicate an intelligent spirit. But again, I hate to poo-poo the whole idea that I'm going to chalk this up to an urban legend, but I have to. There has not been the murder of a child in this tunnel. Not from what I get. We'll see what we get through the research when we turn Sam loose with the research. I would like to find, too, if there's anyone who has a family connection to some of the local farms and maybe knows a little bit more of the local history. I would love to get them on screen. It's definitely kind of a wild location. What's your take? You experience anything?
No, not really.
No, not really. All right.
As we approach the QEW, I feel more connection again to a tragedy that took a child's life. But I feel that, again, it's more residual. Makes me wonder if before there was a highway out there was just some other rural road. That may be where the accident took place. Again, I would suggest what I feel. I keep hearing like the screams appearance. Again, this feels more residual. It's not intelligent spirit, but it feels like the scream screams just like Maggie, 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 Margaret. Maybe the name of this child.
I feel like this definitely has like a vibe of a teen hangout spot. You know, come here late at night with your friends, goof around. Maybe you tell one of them a legend about a girl screaming if you light a match. Kids get scared enough and they'll believe anything they hear. But it definitely has that, you know, when you're walking through, there's all those symbols, like someone's trying to make it look scary.
We're gonna call it a night and take what we have back to Sam and see what we can get. So Sam, with our leg of the investigation concluded, we turned over the research portion over to you. What were you able to find out in the last 3 or 4 days?
Well, this was an interesting one because there's actually a lot to be found on the internet about the screaming tunnels. But it turns out that most of it is just lore and legacy and not true. So after you guys investigated the tunnel and you came up with the name Margaret, we put out a feeler on Kevin's social media looking for anyone that lived in the area or knew someone who lived in the area back at around the time that the tunnel was constructed. And we did get a name from that feeler, which led us to a contact who is directly related to the family that's at the center of this story. So there was a Margaret in that family who was very tragically struck by a vehicle after using the tunnel as a shortcut to get either to or from her school bus.
Okay, yeah. So did you guys mention back and forth what the trauma of the story, the legend, has done to them?
Yeah, it's really extra tragic to have this family, you know, suffer this this tragic loss, and then to have all of that compounded by the legend and the story that was completely false that grew around it.
There's always like a little bit of truth that is in every myth. There's always that little tiny nugget. And in the story, the father had killed the child in the tunnel, but in the truth, the child was killed outside of the tunnel by an automobile, and the father carried her back through the tunnel. So
Third party vehicle? Like it was somebody in a...
It was just another person in a vehicle.
Okay. Tragic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it puts a different color on this as a legend.
Oh, the story of the couple that's divorcing and in a custody battle is completely untrue because the parents of this girl stayed together their entire lives and had multiple other children and grandchildren.